go first, and this is John Lucido.
John's throwing the ball just about as hard as he can possibly throw it, and maybe it might be a good time for him to make a move a little bit left on the approach and give the ball a chance to roll up, because he's really trying to overpower the lane, and sometimes that'll be very costly. Got away this time, left only the 4-7. Very easily high on the head pin, could have been much worse. Cross lane here at the 4-7. Again, good ball speed. Just all you got to do is hit him.
So Lucido with an opening spare as we show you the Contour Power Grip starting lineup, brought to you by the pioneers of the finger grip industry. And for Pro Sports Systems, it's Gonzalez, Orr, Menier, Scroggins, and Castillo. And we should point out at this point that Madsen's has made a lineup switch. Rick Miller has gone from the 27 spot to 49, and Randy Wilson alternates with him in the 27 spot. Remember, Wilson had the most difficulty in that opening match. Ooh.
The 2 and the 10, yeah. And this is what you and I had talked about earlier, Dave, one of those kind of splits you get when you want to turn the ball up as much as these guys do and throw that resin reactive type bowling ball. This guy can rev it as good as anybody that's ever been throwing a bowling ball. Just a young guy, but boy, can he get a lot on it. And he can generate a lot of ball speed. He's going to really throw this hard, try to get just a little piece on the left side of that 2-pin and send it into the 10.
What a shot. Wow.
Just like that.
Well, that's a real lift for Pro Sports Systems.
Here's another look at that Brunswick number 2 pin going into the Brunswick number 10 pin. Just like that. Just a piece of it. And at 60 feet, that's incredible accuracy.
Now let's see if Wilson feels more comfortable in the 2-hole, and oh my goodness, is he having problems.
He's having problems, and not only is he having problems, but he's having a lot of bad luck.
Yes.
You know, you can watch guys, for example, their leadoff man got up there, Lucido, and threw the ball essentially in the same spot on the head pin and got only the 4-7. Here's this guy, every time he throws the ball, something bad happens. He got that one key strike for him in the 9th frame, but he's going to have to help him a little more than that against this Contour Power team. This Pro Sports team is a very loaded lineup, very strong, and these guys aren't going to wait for him.
Josh Orr now up. Josh, 22 years old.
Only the 4-pin, and very light in the pocket, just enough of the head pin to get it to jump up over the 4-pin after it deflected off the 2-pin. Jumped over the 4 and knocked down the 7, but didn't get any part of that 4-pin.
Well, Pro Sports, you mentioned the move they made in the last few matches, not only just to get into the show, but to get into the top spot.
Careful. Boy, he got that down early. I thought it was going to hook on him, but he had plenty of ball speed.
So the spare for Josh Orr in the 2nd, and now Ryan Kretschmer.
Now, I'm surprised this team made that lineup change, because for the very simple reason, there's such a mental thing into team bowling. And by that I mean is that you create confidence in your lineup and things like that. And the team had just won a match over a very good team.
Yes.
They just beat a very strong Columbia team. Why make a change in the lineup? Now everybody's a little insecure. And I think they might have been better off if they'd stayed with the original lineup, but only time will tell.
The only reason I could see is if Randy Wilson himself went to the team captain and said, I really don't feel comfortable. Would you please move me out of the 4-9 spot?
Right, but he had just gotten that strike in the 9th frame, a key shot. And here, a look at one of the old men out there, Rick Menier.
43 years of age.
Still gets it done.
Sure does.
Rick's been around a long time and always made it look easy.
So as we head to our first break, thanks to the open, Miller can strike in the 4th. Madsen's can cut the lead down to 3. Boy, he does put a lot of hook on that ball.
He does. Big, strong guy. He looks like he should be a linebacker for the Chicago Bears or something. Watch the rotation here. Gets the swing way inside, going inside out, and that creates a lot of leverage and rotation. Look at the back end. A tremendous hook on the back.
Well, maybe an offensive lineman anyway. So the double up for Matsson's. Scroggins will try to do the same for Pro Sports.
Another lefty that can really get the ball to rotate. And he had a little approach problem right there. It was pretty obvious that he's stuck, couldn't get through the shot, and all he was trying to do is get that off his hand and not hurt himself more than anything else.
Scroggins, the 92 PBA Rookie of the Year. He owns 2 PBA regional titles.
Goes after his spare ball here. He'll go cross lane at this, throw it nice and hard, straight for the lefty. There shouldn't be any problem.
When did that really get into vogue? Are all guys using 2 different balls, strike and spare?
Well, that was almost a necessity because of the surfaces of the bowling balls. The bowling balls that are created today or manufactured today create a lot of friction on the lane, and it's just hard to control them when you're trying to go through oil, dry as you shoot spares. So the ideal thing is to have a ball that doesn't react to the surface of the lane as much. And so if you get a ball that's fairly shiny, fairly hard surface, and not very porous, it'll go down the lane on a line and stay there and make the easy spares for you. Again, all you have to do on a spare is hit it. You don't have to throw a big, strong ball.
Ooh, a chance for 3 in a row for Matsson's.
See guys walking from ball return to ball return looking for their spare balls, and you can see it's a real shiny bowling ball. And this ball is manufactured and then drilled so it won't hook very much. And the reason is all he wants to do is hit this pin. It'll fall down.
You know, you see anymore when guys go to bowling tournaments, they're bringing in 6, 7, 8 balls anymore. I mean, the travel problems that must create, but the technology has changed so much in this sport.
Well, it has, and it's continuing to change as the ball manufacturers continue to manufacture ball after ball that hooks more than somebody else's, or they claim will strike or hit harder in the pocket area and things like that. Well, it's really hard not only for the pro shops and such to keep up with and stock this kind of equipment, but it's difficult for the bowlers to keep up with the latest equipment, and it's expensive.
DINO Castillo. They made a lineup change as well. Castillo was in the top spot, the 16 spot. But boy, he was bowling so well in the warm-up, they moved him to the anchor spot.
Here's another look at that shot. You can see that tremendously high, but watch what he does at the bottom. See how the hand gets to the side, and he lifts straight up the side? You see the rotation from right to left? And watching the ball grips the lane right there. Tremendous power.
Boy, a sharp left turn.
Well, there's John again. Now, John, remember last time here in the opening shot in this match, he was the first man up, and he went high on the head pin, left only the 4-7. This time, it looks like he made a little move on the lane, and not much of a move, but enough to give the ball a little more room, and it didn't react for him. So he's struggling a little bit in that part of the lane. It might be a good time for him to get out of there and maybe get into the part of the lane, in the middle of the lane, more toward that third arrow where the ball would react a little more for him.
Give me a reaction on, we're talking about technology. Jack Nicklaus always contends that technology has changed too much in golf and made too many people too good in the game. What are your feelings in bowling? Is technology maybe having too much a part of the sport, or is it okay?
Well, I think technology in all sports has been a determining factor of who's going to be dominant and who's not. And bowling is a good example of that. There are a lot of guys that are really 190, 195 average bowlers that are averaging 220. And that's not their fault. That's just a matter of fact of the game. It's become a different game. It's a different sport than it was 25 or 30 years ago. And here's another look at one of the unique styles today. And this is a creation of a guy that's trying to get as much as he can on the ball, carries it back with 2 hands. Very unique style, very different even in his approach. A tremendously long last step, and then the hop, getting as much as he can on the bowling ball. And the idea here is not get hurt, you know.
Yeah.
More than anything else, you don't want to get hurt going to the foul line.
Right.
So, easy spare.
Just the 2-pin. Look out, though. Oh, my goodness. He's stuck at the line, and he misses the easy 2-pin. A costly open, perhaps, for Pro Sports Systems. They've allowed Matsson's to stay in this match here in Game 1 of our championship match. Back to Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma now. Randy Wilson.
He could be going for the record here. I think he's opened 5 out of 6 times. Got a strike on the other one. Come on, Randy. We're pulling for you here. That looks a little better.
Yep, give it more room.
He's just not getting the reaction he expects. I thought he really made a good shot there and leaves a 2-5, another tough spare. But at least it's makeable. That 4-6-7 he had last time wasn't even makeable.
Well, look at Pro Sports. Their qualifying average and then their Baker average, and the opposite for Matsson's. Look at that, 208 qualifying average, and then in match play, Pro Sports with that 6-3 record, and the way they came, watch how far Pro Sports went. They were all the way down to 9th place at one time, and then from 6th to 1st in the last few matches. Unbelievable.
Well, he had a little help from the other teams that just kind of waited around for him to catch up also. So even though they bowled extremely well, they never would have caught those teams if they continued to bowl the way they had throughout the qualifying and match play to that point.
Yeah, now let's see how Pro Sports can come off that costly open frame from the 5th. This is Josh Orr, who had a spare his first time up.
I like this game here. Josh gets the job done. He's got that good free arm swing. Watch the relaxed shoulder here. Gets the ball well out down the lane and throws it in the channel.
Well, that's the second one we have seen in that same channel.
I wonder what's going on out there. I don't understand that. Did he hit his ankle or something? I don't know. Let's take a look at it here. No, didn't hit his ankle. I don't know. He looked like he slipped a little bit on the approach. And a lot of the players have talked about how slippery the approaches were. And you can see that he's pretty well off balance there. And I don't know what he's trying to do at that point. He looks to me like he's just completely lost his balance. And the ball got away from him. It's awful hard to explain. Tough spare. They're all in a bunch.
And no, he cannot get the 2-pin to fall. So open frames back-to-back for Pro Sports.
And costly major errors. Either one of them could have been avoided. One was an easy 1-pin spare that they missed, and then to throw the ball in the channel like that and come back and not get the spare. So
now, if you're the opponent like Matson's here, you got to be thinking, let's go for the jugular, right?
You've got to get. Generally, what will happen when you do something like this is the other team will throw some strikes at you.
Well, got the 10-pin to go to avoid the 3-10.
Looks to me like there's a little transition going on out there with the lanes also. The oil's moving around a little bit, as it will. The bowling balls that the players use today, these reactive resin bowling balls, do pick up the oil, move it around, take some of the oil out of the first part of the lane and deposit it at the other end, which makes for a transition in the oil. By that I mean it's moving up and down the lane. The players have to adjust to that, and sometimes it takes a few shots to do that. And here in this Baker system, only bowling twice each game, sometimes that's difficult to make those adjustments.
So the spare for Matson's in the 8th frame. Jim Otterstrom from Brunswick, Vice President of Marketing Services. We're talking about all the technology in Brunswick, one of the leaders in that department.
We see Jim at a lot of these events, Brunswick being our major sponsor. And,
yes.
He's keeping an eye on that Brunswick money, maybe, huh?
There you go.
He even bowled in one of these things with some of the guys that are working this show, like Ed Bauer, and I think they were like 500 and some pins out of the lead after the first 3 games, but they gave it a valiant effort.
Didn't make the same move Pro Sports made, did they?
No, they didn't. They did, but it was in the opposite direction.
They wanted you to be a part of that team, but you stayed away for some unknown reason.
Well, I'm not a complete idiot.
Rick Miller now.
Turn it up, Rick. Boy, can he get it to turn, huh?
There's that weak 7 you were talking about earlier.
That's not the weak one. That's the ringing 7, they call that one, or the solid 7. The ball hit extremely hard. The pin goes up and around the neck of the 7-pin instead of laying in the channel. And he shot at 1,000,000 of these in his brief career as a bowler. I'm sure he won't have any problem with this one. Hard and straight, right at it.
So the spare for Matson's. They have not had a strike, Matson, since way back in the 4th frame, but spares in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and now 9th. And bowling now for Pro Sports in the 9th is Mark Scroggins.
Mark had some approach problems last time, and he stuck and pulled the ball through, and he got a break, left an easy spare. Let's see if he can get something going now. They need a strike here in the 9th to get this match back on course and tight again. Good shot here. And the 7-pin, you can see the look on his face of not only disappointment, but a little disgust there. He thought he'd made a pretty good shot, and it looked good from here.
Right now, the lead is 14 for Matson's. And they're probably thinking it should be more with those 2 open frames from Pro Sports back to back.
How about 3?
My goodness.
3 out of the last 4. And none of them should have happened. They're all very avoidable. 2 easy spares and then the ball in the channel.
Yep.
Here's another look at it. And there's no reason for this to happen other than just being careless. And he looks down at the approach. Again, the approaches are slippery at points. In some places, the players are sticking. And it looks like he can see he's a little overslide there and lost his balance.
Yep.
2 easy spares. 2 easy spares. And then the ball in the channel. Here's another look at it. And there's no reason for this to happen other than just being careless. And he looks down at the approach. Again, the approaches are slippery at points. In some places, the players are sticking. And it looks like he can see he's a little overslide there and lost his balance.
Yep.
But these guys are too good to let that happen. They've been around a while. They know how to make adjustments. It shouldn't happen.
Oh.
Nobody seems to be able to carry the corners right now, so it's going to be who makes the fewest mistakes. And right now, that's Madsen. They're not making any mistakes on. They're filling frames, and like I said in the Baker system, that's the key to success. Fill the frames. Don't make the silly mistakes, and they're not making any.
A 189 possible for Madsen's. The best that Pro Sports can hope for would be 174 with 3 strikes from Dino Castillo, and he had a strike earlier in the 5th frame. So the spare, and now one more ball for Brian O'Keefe.
This guy can play the game. He's a very talented player, but this isn't the kind of style you at home would want to copy. It takes a lot of physical strength, especially in your legs and upper body. Your shoulders and your knees take a beating when you throw the ball the way he does, because he really uses his legs to get this ball well out on the approach.
Spare strike finish for O'Keefe, and a 189 total.
This ball coming off this young man's hand right now is going to have about 85 RPM on it. He's going to get everything he can, and if he gets any part of the pocket, it'll get the job done.
If he strikes out, a chance to pull his team back to within 15. Certainly well within striking range. There's one.
And that's his hit right there. If he can keep the ball in that area of the pocket, he'll strike almost every time. Just enough of the pocket to hit him thin, watch him spin, and here you watch his style from the side here. That wrist will open up right there. Takes a swing back, turns his shoulder out, gets the ball well above his head. Hop, skip, and a jump for timing. Get the ball through at the bottom. Looks a little bit like Pete Weber at the follow through there. And here's that tremendous rotation and the pin action.
Second ball, and there's another one. Well, he looks well down the lane, too, watching his eyes. Looks like he's looking at the pins almost.
Well, almost. He's probably looking somewhere around 40, 45 feet down. He's looking at a break point. What the players like this tend to do is they tend to pick a spot on the lane where they want the ball to start to break to the pins. They'll look at that spot and try to line the ball to that target area and let it hook in from there.
What a comeback this would be for Pro Sports. Just trying to put the finishing touches on here. Wow, what a finish for Dino Castillo. Now you see why they moved him from number 16 to number 50. Now, game 2 should be a dandy. Boulevard Bowl, Edmond, Oklahoma, the site. And Pro Sports will start Tony Gonzalez. They trail by 15. And it could have been much worse if not for the finish of Dino Castillo with 3 strikes in the 10th.
I'll tell you what, I'm surprised that he got any part of the head pin with that shot. That ball was so far down the lane and still so far right of the head pin. Let's look at, here's a look at that again. Watch this ball. Watch where it's at down here. Now this is about 55 feet down the lane before that ball starts to hook, and he still almost got it back. Tough spare here. The 2 and the 8. And this is the young man that kind of whizzed that spare, I believe, earlier, didn't he? And
yes, missed the 2 pin. He converted the 210 and missed this single 2 pin.
Well, he's going to hook this one a little bit, I think.
Oh boy,
a little too much hook.
So open frame for Pro Sports. Well, somehow they survived 3 open frames from that first game and trailed by just 15.
Well, let's see what John can do. John Lucido on the right-hand lane. He bowled quite well here in the opening match on the right-hand lane and struggled on the left-hand lane. A lot of ball speed here. And a solid 8. It's a good thing that we can't read what's on his mind right now, because it wouldn't be very flattering for the 8-pin at this point. Here you see that shot again. The ball acts like a bulldozer. It kind of just pushes the pins back, and because it hits so hard with that angle and that type of a shell on the bowling ball, it just pushes them back and pushes them out of the way. They took the 5-pin straight back off the 8. Careful.
And he gets the 8. So that will add to the lead and make it 25 now for Madsen's.
Well, here's the guy I jinxed last time, saying how much I liked his game, Josh Orr, and he threw it in the channel. I don't think he's going to do that anymore, so I'm going to say it again. I like his game. I like the way he swings the ball, and I like his release. Oh, my. Momentarily, yeah, momentarily the 410, and I'm very happy the 10 fell down because I'm starting to feel like a jinx. Here's another look at that shot. They're really getting the ball down the lane. It's just amazing to me that they're getting any part of the head pin from that deep in the lane. And you saw the pin action, the head pin going to the sideboard and taking out almost the whole left side of the pin deck there. Matsson's isn't really doing anything spectacular, so if Pro Sports can just fill some frames, it's going to be a close match. And so many of our matches do come down to the 10th frame where it's between the two anchormen to determine the winner. That could happen again today. Well, here's Mr. Hard Luck. If there ever was one, this is the guy.
Right there. Come on.
Right there. You heard him halfway down the lane. He said right there, and it was.
Well, Randy has made a lot of what you would consider, I'm sure in his mind especially, good shots, but he's getting some awful bad breaks. And this one, he gets the job done. Just enough of the pocket to get the 5 pin into the 4 and the 7. And here's a guy that is just a keep-it-in-play type player, Rick Manier, and what he does is hit the pocket forever. And he'll just beat you to death by hitting the pocket. And as I say, I'm just one of those kind of guys. When I say they're going to do something, they do the opposite.
Well, he hit the pocket for a left-hander.
Yeah. But generally, Rick Manier is the kind of guy that you want in that middle slot. That's why he's bowling third. He's captain of the team, and he determines the lineup, and he says, I'm going to bowl third because I can hit the pocket, make some spares, and I'm not going to get in anybody's way. Then you got the guys with the power bowling in 4th and 5th to finish it off.
Not a guy that's going to hurt you with a costly mistake, but a strike is what Pro Sports needs. 2 or 3 or 4 of them in a row right now to try to get back into this match. And Madsen's, boy, they're looking at a double here if Ryan can do that.
They have to be aggressive. They can't wait for something to happen from Pro Sports. They should just try to take command of this match, throw a few strikes, and get this over with. That was a good shot. He played it well. He's deep inside in the lane, and what he was trying to do there is just make sure he didn't get any open, and he really was aggressive. You can see where he's playing between the 4th and 5th arrow. A lot of good rotation on the shot, just a little high in the pocket. Only the 4 pin.
The lead will be 27 with a converted spare here. And he got it. A reminder that our champion will not only take home $2,330 in prize money for the team, but the Grand Championship package includes 5 Brunswick bowling balls, 5 pairs of Lynn shoes, 5 championship rings, a sponsors award, 5 airline tickets to the Grand Championship in Reno, 3 double rooms at the Grand Championship, and a shot at that projected $150,000 prize fund. There's a strike for Pro Sports, Mark Scroggins. And with DINO Castillo on deck, that's a big one. Rick Miller. Miller with a strike and a spare in game 1.
Watch Rick's eyes as he goes to the foul line. He'll look down, he'll look up. He's looking at the pins, and then he looks down again just before he gets to the foul line. That's very unusual. Not many players will do that. They'll look, most players will look at an intended line they want the ball to take, and they'll look down to the head pin and then come back there with their eyes and then pick their target and stay there. Watch his eyes. He looks up, he looks down, and he'll look down at the foul line, and then he'll look up again. Now he looks down again, and here we go.
He's looking at the foul line when he lets it go, isn't he?
In that vicinity.
Yeah. Oh, my. Now an open frame for Matsson's Bowling and Billiards. The door wide open now for Pro Sports Systems. Can they go through it? You come back with us to Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, and we'll find out together. The lead just 12. Well, it didn't matter.
Well, this is a tough spare. The 3, 6, 9, 10, and there are a lot of ways to make it, but there's a lot more ways to miss it. The ideal way to pick this spare up is to have the ball hit between the 3 and the 6, the ball take out the 9, and of course the 6 will take out the 10. But the lane is really hooking down that far down the lane, so he's got to be careful. There There it is, that chop. The ball just doesn't want to stay out there. It wants to grip and go hard left. There's another look at it, and watch the ball. You can see it's gripping really hard and just takes out the 3 and the 9. That's a disaster at this point in the match because
it really is.
The turn around and count, and of course the big open.
Not to mention momentum. Randy Wilson. Well, how about that? Randy, who had struggled so much in the first match, and again early on with strikes in the 2nd and 7th frames here in this final game.
Randy could turn into the hero. Here's the guy that has to set the stage for the rest of this match for his team. Rick Manier, the veteran, 43 years old. He's been around forever. He's the guy they want to get the ball in the pocket, get the strike, and set up the big guys for the 9th and 10th.
Again on the Brooklyn side for Manier.
Well, they're struggling. That left-hand lane has really changed. It's pretty obvious that the left-hand lane has gotten to the point where there's so much back end they can't keep it to the right of the head pin hardly. And as that happens, they're really in trouble. It's they had the choice of starting lanes, determined that they wanted to finish on the left-hand lane, and it seems that maybe that could be the key mistake of the whole situation. That decision to finish on the left-hand lane. Of course, they wouldn't have known in advance it was going to break down this much.
So the spare for Manier. And again, we remind you what they're all bowling for, not to mention the championship at the 5 Brunswick bowling balls.
I got one of those ones on the left. I love it.
And the Lynn shoes, championship rings, and of course the championship package, which includes the airline tickets and the rooms in Reno at the Grand Championships coming up in July in Reno.
Well, all the players struggling. A little bit of it's nerves, but a lot of it's the change in the surface on the lane. As that oil moves, the players have to adjust, and right now they haven't figured them out yet. So it's going to come down to who fills the frames, and it looks to me like Madsen's is doing it a little bit better than Pro Sports at this point. Easy spare here, only the 6-pin, and again, he'll go cross lane, use as much of the lane as possible. His target area is somewhere in the middle around the 4th arrow. Throw the ball pretty hard, pretty straight.
Just like that. So another spare for Madsen's Bowling and Billiards out of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, it's down to do or die time for Pro Sports. They need a bunch of strikes, and they need to start right now. 2 players left on each team, and these are the guys that are supposed to deliver those strikes when you need them right now, the guys in 4th and 5th.
The foundation frame. Oh.
Well, you could see the concentration on his face, the intensity in his eyes, and he was trying to get the job done. The ball just doesn't react the way they expect it to at this point. Here he's got the 3, the 5, and the 6, and not an easy spare for the left-hander.
They got it. So a spare in the 9th when they needed a strike so badly. Well, DINO Castillo sits in the wings hoping to get a chance, hoping somehow that Madsen's does not finish strong. In the 9th frame, Rick Miller.
He needs some help from Madsen's now. That was almost it right there.
Yeah, it was. That 7-pin almost stayed up.
Well, the easy spare again for the left-hander. He'll go cross lane at the 6-10, and here's another look at that shot. And you can see the tremendous rotation he gets. And the ball hooks a little bit earlier than he expects. Gets a little bit too much of the head pin. And all the players, left and right-handed, having a problem getting the ball reaction that they want at this point in the match. Hang on.
Uh-oh. There is maybe the break that Pro Sports needed. The open frame in the 9th. And they're all checking out the scoreboard now to see where they stand.
Well, what it comes down to is this young man right here needs some strikes. There's no question about that. We all know that. He did it once. Can he do it twice?
He did it to close out game 1. There's one. If he gets another one right here, Earl, that would mean that Brian O'Keefe needs a mark.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what. There's, you can see the tension on his face. He knows what's going on up there, and he knows what the score is. And sometimes it's harder to get a mark than it is to get a strike. Sometimes you get defensive when all you need is a mark instead of being aggressive. Here's the shot of the day right here.
Boy, was that solid.
Boy, was that well thrown. I'll tell you what.
Man.
Last pin out was the 8 pin, and the ball hit it. So you can see how much, watch how hard this ball drives through the pocket area. Absolutely no deflection from this ball. Watch the ball go through the pocket and run right over the 8 pin. My, that's power. And his eyes, look at his eyes. He knows he's made a good shot. Well, he did what he had to do. Now it's up to the other anchor man, and here we go again, folks, right down to the last bowler as usual.
Brian O'Keefe now. The lead was 12 coming into this game for Madsen's Bowling and Billiards.
Only 21 years old, and you can know he's feeling the pressure, and his teammates watch him, and
Needs a mark.
all they can do is hope. Oh, look out.
Oh, he got the strike. Oh, that was a huge break for Madsen's Bowling and Billiards. Now in the next 2 balls, he needs 6 more pins, 7 more pins to win. Boy, was that huge, Earl. That could have easily been a split, but it moved over just enough to get the strike.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now there's a lot of disappointment on the faces of the team from Pro Sports because they led the tournament. They bowled very well, but I'll tell you what, when he's through bowling, they'll be up there shaking his hand and congratulating him. Here we go right now. There's the first one.
So Brian O'Keefe does it for Madsen's Bowling and Billiards. They hang on to win our championship here in Edmond, and we'll be back to crown them in a moment. Well, the final was very, very close. It's a 6-pin advantage for Madsen's. The champions from Nebraska. Well, the football team won the national championship, and now these guys are heading to Reno. Jim Otterstrom from Brunswick. I know you have some awards to present.
On behalf of Brunswick, congratulations on a great tournament. See you in Reno.
Thank you.
All right, and Joseph Haynes from ABC.
On behalf of Lynn Shoes, I'd like to present you with the shoes, and guys, good luck in Reno. Take care.
And from Boulevard Bowl, David White.
Guys, beautiful bowling this week. Here's beautiful rings. Congratulations, and also like to thank the staff here at Boulevard Bowl for doing an outstanding job this weekend. Thank you.
Randy, congratulations.
Well, we really came through in the end when we needed it.
You certainly did. 2 strikes for you in that championship game, so our congratulations to you, and we'll see you guys in Reno. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, from North Kansas City Pro Bowl, Prime presents the Greater Kansas City Sports Community.